town of East Troy. It's Thursday, May 20th, 6:30 p.m. Let the record show that the full board is in attendance. Well, the chief and clerk. And we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 members in the audience. All right, is all of our postings in order for tonight's meeting?
Yes, they are.
All right. First item on the agenda is approval of part-time water patrol candidate Daniel Pierce. Chief.
Daniel Pierce applied to our department. He made suitable proficiency in the application process, and the next step would be the approval of the board to allow him to work on the department's water patrol. He has experience. He presently works at another police agency part-time, and like I had mentioned, he made suitable proficiency during the application process and during his oral interview process as well.
What experience has he done on water patrol before, you're saying?
Yes, he has.
Yeah. I was asking where.
Oh, Lauderdale Lakes.
Oh, Lauderdale.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Any other questions for the chief before we motion?
And is it a 1-year assignment, or?
No, the people that we hire on water patrol, his will be what's called seasonal. So if he does well this season, then he would be asked to come back next year.
And that's a question that's asked of people to whether or not they're coming back, or whether you are inviting them back.
At the end of the season, some people are asked to come back and some people aren't.
Okay.
Any questions? Anyone?
And in the conditional offer, it will of course state that it's for the water patrol.
Any intention of rolling into some road work at all, or no, not this person?
If a person wants to do part-time road patrol, then we ask that they fill out a separate application for that.
You get approval by the board on some.
Yes.
This is just for water patrol.
Like water patrol?
Yeah, this is for the water patrol only, yes.
I move that we approve, Daniel Pierce as part-time seasonal water patrol officer.
So the motion, we have a second?
I'll second the motion.
Peter, second, discussion. Discussion? Hearing none on the motion to approve the part-time water patrol candidate Daniel Pierce, all in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? None. Okay. Exit interview request for Michael Kashinski. He was a part-time water patrol officer also. A little background on this, there's a lot of questions recently here about exit interviews. Have them, not have them, you know, should we, shouldn't we? That's a board decision, it always is. But I would say in the last 16 years, most of the candidates, or most of the people that left here were retired, most of them. And with a retired person, normally we wouldn't think of having one, you know? But I do recall, I thought we had one for Sergeant Schmidt.
Yes, we did.
Okay, and I was at that one. And
Sorry.
and I think you recalled having one for Mr. Wilson, correct?
Officer Wilson.
Mr. Wilson, and I think I was gone, and that one took place on his last day at work. That's why I wasn't here. So, to have one or not have one, that's up to us, okay? Most of the town chairmen that I've been talking to, because, I wanted to get more background to see, you know, how often this happens. Most of them don't do it. They say, you know, what are you asking for? You're asking for a mess normally, right? Especially if a person leaves on bad terms. We don't know that. Mr. Kashinski, I believe, was 6 months ago? 7 months ago? How long ago?
April is what he said at the month meeting.
When was, I thought I heard about this previously, about when he was no longer requested to come back.
If he did not request not to come back, it was my decision.
Okay, and how long ago was this?
It would have been within the last month to 1 to 2 months. I don't remember the exact date.
Okay, because that's why when.
May I clarify?
One second.
Okay, thank you.
When the request came, and it was a little embarrassing because Mr. Kashinski got up here and, you know, I didn't even recognize him, because I don't think we ever met, right? I don't think we did. I don't think we did. And, so, the question always becomes, do you do one or you don't do one? I thought this was months out, you're saying it's like a month or less, okay? So that may make a difference, I'm not sure. But anyway, the actual opening interview itself, if we have it, it can occur here, okay? The agenda item is whether or not we're gonna have it or not. So I guess any discussion, what do you think?
I mean, I don't know, I'm a little new to this, but if someone requests one, why not?
More information is
It's,
better,
the
right?
more information that we have as a board, it's gonna help us make decisions on other things, you know, I don't see there being an issue with it, but again, you don't wanna stir the pot, but at the same time, especially if it's requested, you have to require it. But
Yeah, you're right, it's requested, not
if it's requested, I wouldn't see why not.
I think it will help shed light on anything, the inner workings of the police department, just for the sake of the community. But I think it needs to be in a timely fashion. I don't think you should be like a year out and then expect it. I mean, just if people have left and departed, whether they're fired or exited on their own, there should be a time frame that should be completed.
And again, the reason why I bring it up in that context is, anything we do, even though we can say it's not a precedent, it really is, somebody could point back to a time and date, place, and a person and say, well, he did that. So then we couldn't do it, you know, or we couldn't really logicate it out. So,
This is a point of information.
Yeah.
Mike was hired on May 5th, or May 11th, 2019. In 2019, he worked 55.5 hours. In 2020, he worked 74 hours, for a total of 129.5 hours in 2 years.
Mark, comments?
I don't recall having any seasonal employees ever ask for an interview. I thought that's part of the reason why I asked the chief when the officers on water patrol or seasonal employees were determined whether they returned or not. I thought it was usually at the end of the season that they worked. I'm curious to know, Chief, what kind of interaction you had a month or two ago where this was brought up, if usually they're told at the end of the season or something.
In the season,
Well, that could have personnel implications that you shouldn't really be discussing.
Sorry.
Until the next interview.
But I was gonna say, until the next interview is.
Alright, I think we talked it out, so somebody make a motion one way or the other here?
I would make a motion to grant an exit interview for former part-time water patrol officer, Michael Kashinski, to be scheduled tonight while we're all here.
I'll second that.
We have a motion, second, to grant the exit interview request.
Chairman, you the second?
Yes.
Any further discussion? Okay, on the motion, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? None, 5-0. Okay, and, Michael, the reason why anything you can't say now, just like we couldn't hear, is that will be the subject of the actual exit interview, so at that time, and you had mentioned when you walked in here, you were requesting that be closed, I believe you said.
Yes, sir, I can request that.
Okay, so we're gonna schedule that, tonight, I think we can schedule it. We just approved it.
I thought my motion was to have.
Well, no, it's not posted. Yeah, I was doing it.
No,
Well,
it's not going to happen tonight, we're gonna pick the date tonight for when it can happen.
yeah, but as soon as possible.
Okay, I was under the impression it was this evening, so I'm prepared for it right now.
But it's not
It's not
noticed.
noticed for tonight.
Okay,
And,
that's why I tried doing notice at the last public meeting, was to have the notice for this evening.
actually, this got moved up because, originally we were gonna make the decision whether to grant it or not at the next, June board meeting.
Okay,
And I believe you added it to the agenda for tonight, so we actually moved it up, so it's gonna be quicker than we thought.
okay.
Question will probably be is how we get that information to him as far as a date that meets you, but evenings are normally good.
As long as it's far enough out that I can request off, yes, sir. So I have off for the next June board meeting, if we're able to have it after the meeting. I've already requested off for that date.
Or before, probably not after, our meeting's been going pretty long.
Depends, correct, yes, sir.
Like at 5:30, well, that's the question right now, is everybody available 5:30 before, an hour before our next board meeting?
Just make myself available.
Actually, June, I think it would be the 14th, right?
14th.
Second Monday.
Yeah, 14th,
I'm open.
I'm open. Jim, you open?
Yep, 5 o'clock.
Pete, you said you already.
I'm free, that's.
Okay, it's scheduled then, it'll be 5:30 on the 14th.
Yes.
Motion, please?
I move that we have set the exit interview for, former Water Patrol Officer Michael Kashinski for Monday, June 14th at 5:30 at the town, PM at the town hall.
I'll second.
All right,
Am I allowed to ask a question?
No.
no. The actual, there's no public comments on this meeting. All right, so we have the motion and a second to have the, exit interview at 5:30 PM, hour before the next board meeting. On the motion, all in favor say aye. Aye, opposed? 0. Okay. All right, we're on to item number 5. We need a motion to move to closed session.
I move that we move to closed session pursuant to Wisconsin State Statutes 19.85 sub 1, sub G, for the purpose of conferring with legal counsel about strategy regarding likely litigation, multi-grievance hearing, and exit interview for Officer Knox.
All right, I'll second that motion. Any discussion? Hearing none on the motion to move to closed session, all in favor say aye. Roll call vote, Farkowski, aye.
Church, aye.
Wales, aye.
Reyes, aye.
All right, we're now in closed session, so we have to clear everybody out. Except,
Point of clarification, how will we know when the meeting is back open?
we'll open the door back.
Open the doors. Okay, thanks, sir.